Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to Footprints with Mo. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. And yeah, looking forward to you guys learning and get to know about some stuff. Now, for today's beat, I have here my sis. This is my sis. She's called Jo. And today's vlog is very, very personal for me, and it's something that I've spoken about so much, and it's very, very close to Jo's heart.
Very, very, very close.
And it's all about eczema. And I think just to set a prelude of what this discussion is about, let me tell you what I remember. When Jo was born, she was, this beautiful, gorgeous baby, so tiny and everything. And then I think a few months in, mom started realizing there's something off with your skin, and especially her feet. And then within no time, I remember, like it was like your skin was cutting, and then there were rashes. Like it was.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was brutal, because I remember you used to sleep, and then when you wake up, your sheets used to be full of skin and blood, because you used to scratch at night, and it developed over months. What I can remember, Jo had one of the most extreme cases of eczema, because I think doctors used to be like, look at her, and they're like, whoa. And then sometimes you used to look at her and you can't even see her face, because she used to have these extremely bad breakouts. And now when I really think about it, I think that time we were young and we were a little bit ignorant about it. But now when I think about it, it was, we didn't really understand. But I remember my mom did everything.
My mom and my dad tried everything, listened to anyone and everyone who had a solution.
I know, and I remember she went to all the doctors. I remember she tried everything, even herbal, even like the
everything.
internet, like everything, guys, everything. But guys, look at Jo now. You're still gorgeous.
Yes, thank you.
You look amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I know you still get breakouts.
I still struggle with breakouts a lot.
But now I want us to talk about eczema. So tell us. And then I think one of the things, even before we start talking about other people, I want to know your experience, and then I want to know why, when you were a teenager, when the sun was 28 degrees, you used to wear sweaters.
So maybe I can just give you a quick glimpse of my life, and you've been through it, so maybe probably I'm doing it for the audience. But I've had eczema for as long as I remember. I don't remember not having eczema, and I just remember it being very itchy. You remember those the brush that Dad used to use to brush his hair. Sometimes I'd use it to just scratch because it felt so good. So I remember Mom trying everything.
Yeah, she did.
I remember we went to, I'm allowed to mention the doctors, right? I went to Dr. Willie. I went to Dr. I think Waweru, I went to so many doctors. And the most that used to happen was just steroids. So I get cream, and immediately, and those mixtures that they used to make, and immediately I withdraw from it. It's just breakouts.
Oh, even before you continue, I think one thing that guys need to know is that I also had my eczema phase. So I was also on steroids for a very, very long time. So I used to get these. It's like breakouts, like a leopard skin kind of breakouts on my. You remember my chin, my chest.
But I think everyone has also actually had eczema in the family. Like
all
Yvonne,
of us.
Remember, had a bit of eczema. On her
Like you have it here,
and
then
I think Jay had a bit on her thighs. Like everyone had a bit of eczema.
Okay.
Anyway, so just growing up, the experience was a bit brutal, because I think when we were young in primary, most people just didn't get it.
Understand.
Because I remember being called like crocodile, frog, and I remember I used to cry a lot by myself. But I think it's because then I think it was depression. It's just that maybe then there was nothing like depression.
We didn't know what depression is, and we we also didn't know how to identify it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there was a phase of depression, and the stigma is real. And I remember I cried. I remember crying a lot. And I used to cry when I used to shower. So I can't come at it to you and I'm telling you
And I didn't
more.
know.
But it's because you also don't know what you're dealing with, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a time, the worst phase was in class 7. I remember mom had gone to Mombasa for three weeks for training. And I went to see this traditional doctor because like the herbs and all natural, trying something different because clearly the medicine wasn't working. And I remember this guy actually gave me some leaves. And then he told me to put it in a basin and put a pinch of Omo. Do you know how Omo is drying? Then I shower with it, and then I'm not supposed to. I air dry, and then I stay. Then I remember like calling mom, and I'm like, Mom, my skin is breaking. Dad is telling Mom, my skin is breaking.
I think I remember.
Then Mom is like, you know, they say it's worse, then it gets better. Then after that, I remember that time Mom came back from Mombasa. I think you guys went to pick her from Coast bus. And then she came in and she just cried. That day she bought Damovit, and she's like, steroids, we need to get it back.
I remember. I think I remember. I remember that bit.
And I couldn't even walk. Because it was so bad.
I remember because you became stiff. Like your joints,
my joints,
everything became stiff. But and then one thing I want to know, when you're a parent at that level,
what do?
You will do everything. If somebody tells you do something, you will do it.
My mom and dad
because
did
you're
everything.
so desperate to try and make things better.
Then I remember also still, I think this happened in class 6. Then I remember class 7, there's a time I went to see this doctor, I will not mention names. Then all of a sudden, because I'm very light, like my complexion, then because of eczema my complexion darkened completely. Then all of a sudden with this doctor I just became bright, my skin color started coming back. Then all of a sudden, like after a month, I remember my joints. So I remember telling either Emma or Jay, one of our sisters, the doctors. So I was telling them my joints. Like when I'm in class and I have to lift my hand to actually answer a question, I can't. Then I remember, I think it was Emma asking, like, what are you using? Which medicine? This guy gave me prednisone. It's called prednisone, I think. Every day, and I was taking prednisone for like a month, so I was getting mild arthritis, and it's just pure steroids. That's why I was remember that time. But what I can say is with time, I think then I was still young, and everything that my mom could say and my dad would say I just do because it was out of frustration. But I think I remember wearing a sweater even when it's hot because my skin used to break out and I don't want people to see my skin. And then you can imagine that time you're an adolescent, you're a bit more conscious about how you look. You want to be told you're pretty. That time people are calling you crocodile. And I think my breakthrough was high school. When I went to high school, I met, I think being in a girls' school, you have a bit of liberty. You're not scared to, you can be yourself, I think. And then I started doing more research.
You know, in high school, you remember my eczema was so bad on my back. So I used to actually go to the doctor, every time I'm in school. I used to go to the doctor because you remember I used to sit, and then when I wake up, my whole shirt has all this gooey stuff. And then I remember there was only one girl who agreed to put that cream because guys were like, is it contagious? Is it what? And then I remember, I'll never forget that girl. I'll never forget her. She was, she used to see me struggling to put the cream on my back, and then she used to be like, it's okay, just come. And she used to touch it, and all that stuff was on her hand, but she was kind, and it just shows you that they're very nice people.
And I think it's also just that lack of awareness. People don't know much about eczema. Okay, maybe let me finish my story first before we get even to that part. But I remember high school, the hardest part was when I got you know, I got a very bad acne. Remember, I had very bad acne.
Yeah.
Then acne and eczema don't even go hand
Hand
in
in
hand.
hand.
Because acne needs your skin to be dry. Eczema needs your skin to be moisturized.
Wow.
I remember being on, I think, Roaccutane for
Yes,
a while.
yeah.
I remember my skin was flawless, but the effects, you know, the sunburn, and then I couldn't even use sunscreen because I react to all sunscreens because my skin is super, super sensitive. So that means just managing, like, not being under the sun, and then my lips chapping, and but it was an experience. And I think what I remember most is just like sleeping at night. I think nights were the worst because you can't even sleep, because you're so itchy, and then you keep promising yourself, John, today you're not gonna itch, you know, just don't itch.
When you were young, I remember when you used to scratch at night, we used to wake up and then we tell you stop.
Yeah.
So we take a wet cloth and then we tap you and we're like, don't scratch, scratch. But it was hard. You couldn't,
like, the blood on the sheets, and then you know, sometimes like the skin would scale off, like it's then you can.
No, I remember.
It was like scales.
And then I remember you used to
cutting,
cut. Like used to cut here.
Sometimes like even
journey.
writing in class was an issue, but you can't even complain to people. But I think over time, also just having the support of family, like parents doing everything they can, and friends, because I had friends who were very supportive all through my life. I've had very few friends, but very good friends, and who've never judged me, discriminated. The stigma is real. Like sometimes you find, even at this point when I get breakout, someone wants to hold your hand, but you can see they're staggering, like should I? Is it contagious? And long time ago I used to feel very bad when I was young, but now I when I notice you're acting weird, I'll actually point it out. It's I'll tell you. I'll tell you. It's just eczema. It's not contagious, and yes, you can read about it.
I'm seeing something here.
Yes, it's just eczema, and you can read about it. It's not contagious. And I like that now people actually
get to know about it.
Yeah.
So I think what I've mentioned for my baby, for Kay, when Kay was born, she was okay. Then a few weeks later, as in, she got the worst breakout, like on her eyes, her forehead, and everything. And I remember I called Joe, and then Joe told me, stop dairy, stop milk, stop eggs, stop what. I stopped all that, and then I talked with my pediatrician. My pediatrician recommended some eczema therapy ointments, and so I stopped. I think what really helped was the diet, but then I think also she had that eczema for, you know, the way kids, I think, adapting to a new world, new antigens, new bacteria, and all that, because after that 3 weeks later she was back. But Joe, are there really any types of eczema? And you know, I told guys we're not gonna do textbook answers, we're just gonna tell guys what we know and what we understand. So you've done a lot of research around it.
So just disclaimer, I'm not a dermatologist, and what I'm sharing is just my experience and the research I've done in 28 years really, but the years I started researching, and just my experience. And there are different types of eczema, and I think also the different types are treated differently. Like the one for Kwanzaa it's called, I think,
seborrheic dermatitis.
Yes,
seborrheic dermatitis,
where it's usually like like after 3 weeks or 3 months or something like that, it goes away. And there's atopic, there are very many types. I think I've been doing more research. I've been doing like literature review on I have a page, but we'll talk about that later. So I've just been explaining each type.
It's actually called Transcend Eczema. You can find it on Instagram and Facebook. And I actually told you, Joe, you need to grow that page because you have a lot of knowledge. So you need to get into it. But anyway,
I'm still getting there. So I've been doing a breakdown on the different types of eczema. because I think once you understand the type of eczema,
Yeah.
it also helps in the treatment.
Yeah.
Because I think there are different types of treatments for the different types of eczema.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I know most about, it's the atopic dermatitis. That's
Yeah.
what I have.
Yeah.
And sometimes I also still get other ones, like
Yeah.
the different. There's one that looks like rings. Sometimes I usually get on my hands.
Yeah.
And there are others because of jewelry.
Yeah.
Others. Yeah. And the main cause of eczema is it's an allergy.
Yeah.
That that's why it's not contagious. It's an allergy that, let me put it in layman language,
Yeah.
the way I understand it.
Yeah.
It's an allergy that just comes out on your skin.
Yeah.
And also most guys who have eczema have asthma.
Yeah.
So it's just an allergy that comes on your lungs or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So when you eat something that that your body reacts to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to use medical terms, I'll just
Yeah.
use very layman language.
Yeah.
When you eat something that you react to, it's
Yeah.
just like you react, it
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
out on the skin,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
itch.
Yeah.
And then when you itch, it becomes scaly, and your skin breaks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And then most times it gets what is this called, it reacts and
Yeah.
it gets infections.
Yeah.
Then with infections, it's still again
Yeah.
like more itching, and that's the whole cycle. And that's why they say try as much to prevent the breakout, because if you can prevent the breakout, then you prevent everything else that comes with it.
You remember I was trying to figure out what used to cause the one on my chin, and then it took a while for me to figure out. I had a little bit of peanuts allergy. Then
Yeah.
I had a little bit of goat's meat allergy, and then when I'm exposed to very cold weather, I used to get all these breakouts.
Do you know I get very bad? They're
Yeah.
called, I think, wind burns. Like
Cold-
when it's
cold
cold,
burns.
Cold burns.
Yes, I get
over
very bad.
here.
Yeah.
As in, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and then later on,
Yeah.
and that's what we're saying. Also, age, your age has a factor. Nowadays, I can eat peanuts. I can eat peanut butter. I can eat peanuts. I can eat goat meat, and I have no reaction.
Yeah, but you know, most like with eczema, you outgrow. So
Yeah.
the older you get,
Yeah.
let me give you a very funny story. I remember going to the doctors and them saying, "Don't worry, when you're 12, you'll have outgrown."
It would have gone.
You know, on my 12th birthday, I remember sleeping and waking up. The first thing I'm like, is it there? It's still
Oh,
there.
no.
Then they're like, when you're 14, when
Oh,
you're
no.
when you're 16,
Yeah.
then when you're 18. At some point in my life, I was like, it's like someone telling you there's Santa and there's no Santa. As in, it was heartbreaking.
You're funny.
It's cause like I was waiting for a miracle,
Yeah.
you know. Like there's one day I just felt like I could just peel my skin
Yeah.
and it would, and I used to wonder why me, you know.
Yeah.
So many questions.
Yeah.
Especially that adolescent stage, I think
Yeah.
was the hardest, because I questioned myself so many times.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
wondering like God, as in why me?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not someone else?
Yeah.
But right now,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful because you know I am who I am. My personality.
Yeah, and it's lovely. And
Yeah.
you know what I realized is that as we grew older, you remember there was a point we used to tell you, Joe, you can wear strapless, you can wear spaghetti, you can wear anything, and we were telling you stop wearing all these baggy
things, I
things.
remember.
Wear what you want, and then your confidence came up,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed seeing that woman come out, because now you used to wear strapless, even when you have a breakout, you used to wear strapless, and it
Nowadays,
became,
I actually really don't care.
No, I think Joe, you
Yeah,
started
it's-
from a very young age,
yes.
because I think us guys understood it, and I realized, you know, the more you accept yourself, and it became okay.
It became okay,
It,
yeah. Mm.
like no one used to be like, oh, how come you have a breakout or anything? It became fine.
And I was okay. I think I was
Yeah.
comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
Which I think once you start, I think at 16 years,
Yeah.
17 years, I was like, it's fine. You know what?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
You take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You know. And I had a good support system. My friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. So far, it's been.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. And would I change it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wow, Joe. And you know, one of the things that I've seen taking a toll. Tell me about the physical, emotional, and financial burdens of having eczema, for lack of a better word.
That's a lot. I'll talk about the physical, which leads to the emotional. So
Yeah.
physical is just being. First, there's the pain.
Yeah.
Where it's actually painful. Like when
Yeah.
you get the breakout, sometimes
Yeah.
when it cracks, it's
Yeah.
actually painful.
Yeah.
And you are, like, there are marks on your body.
Yeah.
Eczema darkens.
Yeah.
Like I think Africans
Yeah.
get darker with eczema.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're a bit more self-conscious and all that, which leads to the emotional part of it.
Yeah.
And because of the stigma, there's a lot of, I want to call it depression,
Yeah.
because I was reading the National Eczema Association, I think, in the States, and
Yeah.
they say, I think almost 80% of the people, I'm not sure if it's 80%, but a very high percentage
Yeah.
of people with eczema
Yeah.
actually go through depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's the emotional side of it,
Yeah.
but this one, I think you can beat it with the right support
Yeah.
and a lot of self encouragement. Like you
Yeah.
keep telling yourself, it will get better,
I'm
and
beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
To be confident,
Yeah.
which takes time to
Yeah.
build.
Yeah.
And then the financial bit is, I think, the toughest, because like for me, I was lucky enough to have parents who are able to actually give me the best medical care,
Yeah, yeah.
take me to the best dermatologists and get the best
Yeah.
products
Yeah.
for me to use.
Yeah.
And also,
Anytime you had a breakout, we could manage it.
And
Yeah.
even my sisters also supported me financially, because
Yeah.
I know so many times also you guys would pay my what is it, for my bills,
Yeah.
and also medicine. My sister would also import stuff, and
Yeah.
then it's sad. I hope it gets to the point where you can actually get subsidized costs for
Yeah.
consultation, because you actually have to see a dermatologist.
Yes.
As much as you moisturize and all that, you actually have to see a
Yeah.
dermatologist.
Because when the breakouts come,
Yes.
they come out with a vengeance.
And you need to at some point, I believe there's a point you actually have to be on the steroids at
Yeah.
some point, just to manage it. Not all the time, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's what I can say.
Yeah. And then something that everyone asks: how do you manage eczema? How do you manage eczema on kids? How do you manage eczema with adults? I think for me, what I can say is, especially for babies, because I've gone through, what you take, especially when you breastfeed, goes to the baby. So you need to figure out what your triggers are. Prevention.
So for me, it's been a journey. I'm still trying to figure out what works,
Yeah.
but I think I've made progress on that.
Yeah.
And also because I think because of outgrowing, it also makes it a bit easier to manage it.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So I remember when we were young, remember you guys eating eggs and I couldn't eat
Yeah,
eggs.
yeah.
So cutting off animal protein, that's like milk and meat and
Eggs and cheese.
and anything that is made with those products.
I remember with Kay, I even stopped mandazi
Yeah.
and cakes, things that I live with, and pancakes. Imagine me without pancakes. It's terrible.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all that, just cutting it off
Yeah.
your diet for a while. And then for me, what I usually say is use the elimination method, where you withdraw everything,
Yeah.
cut off everything. Because
Yeah.
sometimes maybe you actually are not, you don't react to something.
Yeah.
So you pull out everything,
Yeah.
and then you start introducing slowly.
Yeah.
So you've not had milk for like 2 weeks. Drink milk for another 2 days and see whether it actually makes you like
Yeah.
break out.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then maybe milk is not the problem.
Yeah.
Introduce eggs and see
Yeah.
whether that's what
Yeah.
triggers it,
Yeah.
because you have to do that elimination,
Yeah.
which is very hard.
Yeah.
And what I can actually encourage families is that if one of your child has eczema, do it as a whole family.
Yeah.
When you're cutting off milk, don't just cut that one person, so that it's sustainable.
Yes.
So the person doesn't feel like
I'm alone.
I'm alone.
Yeah.
Support the child,
Yeah.
so that they feel like it's okay. With adults, I think it's easier for you to make that decision and
Yeah.
cut out
But
stuff.
for kids, they need
It's
to feel
hard,
involved. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
moisture.
And then in terms of the elimination, I actually started giving Kay
Yeah, I
eggs.
remember, slowly,
Eggs.
and
I'm
you're
giving
trying
her
to see.
slowly, and she's fine.
Yeah.
And right now she's still on formula. Actually, this week is when we went to the clinic, and I actually told the doctor I'm gonna start giving her cow milk. So wish me luck on
Yeah.
that. So I'll give her for 1 day, then I'll observe her for like 3 days and see if anything happens. Yeah.
And then moisturize.
Yeah.
As in, you need
Yeah.
to apply that oil. And
Yeah.
so for me, what I usually do is I make my own soap and my own oil,
Yeah.
which has worked for me.
Yeah. And I want to show you guys this is it. And actually, Joe, for the past 1 week, this is what I apply.
They all have to
Yeah.
try my product.
Oh.
They're my
It's
guinea pigs.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what made you make this?
So it's out of frustration because
like you can see, like it's
very shiny.
Like it's shiny and it's moisturizing, but after a while it settles.
Yeah, it settles
in.
Yeah, but sometimes you also want that shine because our skin is generally
very dry.
Very dry. So if you don't have something moisturizing and something shiny, at some point your skin looks whitish.
Yeah.
You
see.
So it's out of frustration because I've tried so many products, but you know the way like you oil yourself after 2 hours when you bend, you feel like your back is just dry. It's like it's cracking. It's
cracking,
Yeah, I don't know if you know that feeling.
Yeah.
So sometimes like when you wear jeans a whole day and you remove, like my skin is just patchy and white.
Yeah.
So for me, I need a moisturizer that actually gets into the skin.
Yeah.
So I make my own soap and I make my own oils, which has worked for me so far.
And your skin looks
because
amazing.
The oil is just like it has oil. Like, the soap has oil in it. So when I'm done showering, like my bathroom is very oily. But for me, that's something I can deal with.
Yeah.
And then after that, I moisturize when I dab myself. I don't wipe. I dab. Then after I dab, immediately when my skin is still wettish, I apply oil quickly before it dries so that the oil can enter. And there are different types. There's emollients and but you need an oil that actually penetrates through the skin, and beyond penetrating, an oil that has something that blocks the moisture, so that like it remains oily or moisturized the whole day.
Jo, you should make this.
I'm in the process. I'm still
You should make this. I think it's amazing. I've used it for 1 week and I think it's amazing.
No,
Because I know you've done a little bit of trials and error, but I think this is a good business opportunity, and it's not something
it's all natural. I'm actually trying to shift more natural. Because I mean all these things always have chemicals, so I'm trying to I use natural soap. I use natural like these are just a mixture. This is a mixture of natural oils.
So I'll encourage guys to keep following you. The day you finally decide to sell it
soon.
When you decide to sell it, I think it's a fantastic product. So Jo, as in thank you. Like you know this eczema story, like I see, like especially on new mommy groups, like mommies talk about it. It's so frustrating, but I want to tell guys it gets better. I have seen 3 moms with kids who have extreme eczema, and we've talked about diet, we've talked about what creams to use in terms of what they wear, and guess what, after 4 months of the babies being born, the kids get better.
And I think about the wearing bit, people keep away from wool. Use cotton, everything cotton, sheets cotton, sweaters for school, if you can get them tailored inside like a cotton covering, because wool irritates the skin so much. So it needs cotton. You need cotton everywhere. Wool makes you itchy. And imagine I wore those sweaters all those years. I think now is when I realized, because I remember it used to irritate me, but I was like, now what else? What do you do?
I actually went to Biashara Street and got all these heavy cotton pull necks. You remember 4K? It's only that later on I realized it doesn't irritate her that much, and now that's when she started wearing sweaters. So Jo, you look amazing.
Thank you.
You look amazing, girl.
But it takes such a long time to build that confidence. But one thing I can, like, parting shots. What I can say is it does get better. For young mothers, it does get better. Don't quit on your child. Keep trying. What works for me might not work for someone else, but just try everything that you can. Don't quit. Encourage your child. Keep telling. And this is for mothers with teenagers. Tell your children how beautiful they are. They don't need to hear it from outside. The world is very cruel, and they need to believe that they're the best version of themselves. They're beautiful, they're amazing. Buy them fancy clothes, make them feel beautiful, because it's very crucial for that teenage age. And then for adults who are struggling with eczema, just keep trying. Try products. Don't quit on yourself, because it does get better. That one I can promise you. It's just that I think when we were younger, we didn't have like those. We had films. You can't take pictures of your eczema. Now we can. But I don't have shots of how bad my eczema used to be. Unfortunately, but fortunately, you can see the the end product.
Yeah.
I've never quit on myself.
Yeah.
I've taught myself self-love. I do take care of myself.
Yeah.
A lot. I have to shower twice a day.
Yeah.
I have to moisturize my skin, whether
Yeah.
I'm late for work or not.
Yeah.
I have to moisturize my skin.
Yeah.
And there are things that I just understand their triggers.
Yeah.
So I have understood that,
Yeah.
and I've just learned to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And to love myself, and I'm glad where I am. Thanks for the support you guys have given me.
You're awesome. You're awesome. As in, you guys, my sister is kind of amazing. So so I told you guys that we spoke about eczema. Follow her page, and Joe,
Yes.
you need to put more stuff on your page.
I am getting
Follow
there.
her page on Transcend Eczema,
Yeah.
and we'll share more. So
Yeah.
I think we'll have more sessions. Maybe we
Yes.
can have live sessions.
And I was
on
thinking
your page.
actually a live session would be
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
where we bring in a doctor and
Yeah.
an actual dermatologist,
yeah. And
a
guests
few
can
people
ask.
who've gone
Yeah.
through the. I have a few friends who've actually gone through the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Who can, I don't think they'd mind
Yeah.
also sharing their
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
So this is something that we are trying to create awareness, and that's why I actually created the Transcend page.
Eczema.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a Transcend
Alright.
Eczema page.
Fantastic. So guys, make sure you follow the page. Thank you so much for tuning in. Joe, you're
Thank you for
amazing.
having
Thank you.
me.
And then yeah. So if you have any comment, if you have any question, we will answer them. Put them on the YouTube comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. Make
Thank
sure you
you.
subscribe. Make sure you share. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.